I've recently learned is that the universe, she's not on a budget. The universe has not allocated success and joy to only some subgroup of people. And then that's just it for the year or the century or whatever. I used to believe that success, joy, and happiness, that was actually something for other people, not for me. Or maybe that I had at some point used all my happiness and joy at one point in my life. Or maybe it's just I haven't earned it. And isn't that like fucked up to think that I hadn't earned happiness? I hadn't earned joy, hadn't earned success yet? Where did that come from? Well, it was learned, it was taught. And today, I want to talk about how to unlearn that mindset and start to shift to the idea that the universe is actually filled with abundant energy, and it's just up to us to be open to catching it. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Taking Up Space with Jordan. I'm your host, Jordan, and I'm so happy that you found my little corner of the internet. I started this platform to help women to build confidence and self-trust with one honest conversation at a time. And after all, I'm just like you. I'm just a little girly pop with a dream, and only I have a microphone and I love to yap about achieving my dreams. So today's honest conversation is about how we can open ourselves up to the belief that we deserve to dream louder, bigger, and harder, to step away from the idea that joy, peace, and happiness, love, and all of those things is just this liminal thing. And instead, I want us to step into the belief system that the universe is abundant and expansive. I grew up believing a very strict set of stories about myself, but as I've expanded my own belief system about myself, I've learned that those were all based out of fear and limitations. I'm no longer trying to hold on to these stories, and neither should you. This episode is about imagining more joy, more possibility, and most importantly, more you. So if you are ready to start expanding your mind and stepping into the unknown, belief there could be more for me, then let's go ahead and get started. Part 1. Where did we learn to shrink? I talk a lot in this podcast about limiting beliefs. Specifically, I feel like I've been talking a lot about them in the month of July and maybe a little bit of June. And so I have a number of episodes on them is basically what I'm saying. So if you want to check them out, I'll link them in the show notes down below. And if you're watching on YouTube, I think I can link them like right here in this area. But they'll be somewhere around here if you're looking for them. If you're unfamiliar with what limiting beliefs are, I would recommend checking those out before continuing on to this episode, because they're going to give you a little bit more solid foundation for today's conversation. So for today, I want us to just zoom out and think for a second. Because there's so many factors and forces, especially for women, that teach us to settle, to dim, to self-sacrifice. This is not new information, especially if you've been listening to this before. And a lot of the times, they're not just personal doubts. There are things that are like cultural, generational, and there's systemic stories that are passed down almost like family heirlooms. We've all seen them. We've seen the mom who quietly serves everyone else first and then eats last, or waits until, we're getting close to putting the leftovers away. We always see the woman who downplays her accomplishments in meetings so she doesn't seem too confident. The girl who learns early that speaking too loudly, wanting too much, or shining too brightly might actually make her less likable. And slowly, we begin to absorb all of this. We start to believe that success is limited, that love is earned only after we've exhausted ourselves, proving that we deserve it. And somewhere along the way, we forget that we were born worthy. I made myself small for so many people in my life. I stayed quiet when I should have spoken up. I put other people's comfort above my own peace. I said yes when I was screaming no. And there isn't just one moment that I can point to. There are dozens, hundreds even. And I know that you have your moments too. It's sneaky, this shrinking feeling. Sometimes it's in the way we over-explain. Sometimes it's in the way that we avoid celebrating ourselves. Have you ever heard a woman say, "Oh no, I don't really want to celebrate my promotion. It's fine. I worked really hard, and I'm happy that they saw the potential in me." How many times have you heard that? Or, "Well, we don't have to do anything special for my birthday." No. Sometimes it can even look like we bury our dreams under the mat of maybe one day. But let's be clear. This idea that we have to earn joy, that we have to go through enough suffering to be blessed, that's the first lie that we have to unlearn. The universe isn't waiting for you to be a martyr to send love your way. You don't have to collect gold stars of sacrifice to be seen, respected, or celebrated. You don't need to prove your worth by putting yourself last. We learn to shrink from our mothers, our mentors, our communities, our systems. Yes, but we also have the power to model something new. So today, let's choose to be just a little bit louder, a little bit bolder, and a little more unapologetic. Not just for ourselves, though, but for every woman who's watching us. Because the more that we speak up, the more that we remind each other there is no prize for playing small, then we never are meant to dim, the more empowered as a collective that we can all start to be. Part 2, the energy of abundance. So how do we even begin, though, to start shifting into the belief that the universe is abundant? And what does that actually even mean? Because to me, it starts with this. The universe is massive. We are tiny little specks within it. But instead of making that feel overwhelming, I want that to actually feel liberating. Because if the universe is that expansive, then it has more than enough room for you, for your dreams, for your joys, for your weird ideas and your wild desires. Your dreams are not too big. Your dreams are not extra. You are not taking up too much space. In fact, you've barely scratched the surface. And I know it might sound a little cliche. You might be picturing some serene guru over sitting on some rock that's floating and going, the universe is abundant. And you're rolling your eyes at me. I know you are. But that doesn't make it any less true. The more that we believe that there is more, that more is possible, the more power we hold. Because abundance isn't just a concept, it's actually a fuel source. The energy of abundance feels like expansion. It feels like oxygen rushing into lungs that didn't even realize that they were holding their breath. It's clarity, it's confidence, it's creativity. The sense that you don't have to grip so tightly to what's enough because more is on the way. It's not about being delusional or ignoring real life barriers. It's about knowing that those barriers aren't the end of your story. When you're rooted in scarcity, you hesitate. You say, I'd be happy with just, and that was me. Recently, I was journaling about my goals, trying to dream bigger, and I found myself writing, honestly, I'd just be happy with, and I had to stop myself because the audacity, like, wait a goddamn minute. Why am I shrinking in a space that is dedicated to me in my own journal? Why am I rationing my own desires? And where this came from is that me and Bestie are trying to do this I think we ended up figuring out it was going to be 8 weeks, but we're trying to kind of use the rest of summer to push ourselves to be a little bit better in our own specific way. We're not out here burning ourselves out or anything, but we realized that we needed to do some habit resetting. And I'll talk about this a little bit more on social media, and I might even have a podcast episode about it coming up. But recently, I realized that I needed to start challenging myself to do this, to dream bigger, to not rationalize, oh, well, I could do this if I did that. And I just would be happy if little old me could just, are you kidding me? That was my thoughts in my own personal space. Wasn't even speaking to anybody. And so for this month of August, going into it, I want to think, what would I be ecstatic about? What would make me feel wildly aligned? What would blow my ever-loving mind? And when I first started this challenge, I was realizing that there was something amazing that was happening. An abundance mindset, or the energy, I should say, specifically, it actually empowers you to imagine more without this self-censorship. It allows you to lead with more curiosity instead of like caution. It helps you walk through life with your chest a little bit higher, your vision a little bit clearer, and your decisions being a little bit bolder. You're not hustling to deserve good things. You're simply preparing to receive them. Because when you believe the universe is abundant, what actually happens is that you start showing up differently. You stop trying to prove and start allowing. You stop shrinking to fit and start expanding to match the life that you are creating. And an abundant energy is such a different feeling when it's coursing through you, because what ends up happening is when you are doing things that feel more aligned, when you decide, I want to actually go out and be more social for the next couple of weeks or so, you're not doing it because you feel exhausted. You're doing it because you want to do it. And those moments, especially if you're very selective in how you choose to spend your time and energy, they should actually motivate you. They should refill you. They should fuel you in a way that's different than when you're doing things when you say no. You might still get a little bit tired, but the exhaustion is different. It's not this bone tired, I don't want to do this ever again. Why did I say yes to that? No, when you come home, you go, that was fun. And that's it. Part 3, practical ways to expand your life. So how do we actually do this? How do we begin to shift into this mindset completely, fully, and immerse ourselves in it? Because I'm not going to lie, I know this is a big ask. This is a big challenge. Shifting your mindset to believe in more, it doesn't just happen overnight. And it takes a lot of practice, it takes intention, and it takes making some pretty big changes and some small practical ones. And I also want to be so clear, you should never sit down and decide one day that you are going to overhaul your whole entire life, because that is most likely not going to be sustainable for you. When you decide that you're going to go work out 5 days a week, and it's going to be 3 days of running a 5K, and you're going to have weightlifting the other 2 days, you're going to be exhausted because you don't have the habits set in place to set you up for success. So when I say practical, what I mean is personal. What's accessible to me may look totally different than what is accessible to you and what is practical to you, because we're all in different seasons. We're all carrying different responsibilities with different capacities. So as I go through my list, I want you to think about what could actually work for you. And if something inspires you, great. I love that. But don't feel like you need to copy me, because I'm in it with you guys. I am trying to figure it out just like you. It sometimes feels like it's my first fucking day on this earth some days. So let's get into it. So the first thing I've done is I've stopped getting hung up on the small shifts in other people's tones, especially at work. I have been refusing to let the emotional weight of corporate politics distract me from my bigger vision. I'm not climbing someone else's ladder. I'm walking my own path. So when a passive aggressive Slack or team message hits, I remind myself this job is a stepping stone, not my final destination. Their tone is not my problem. My peace is. Secondly, I've released the pressure to be the good girl or the grateful girl, because yes, I'm thankful I've worked hard for every bit of this life, but I don't need to shrink my desires in the name of gratitude. I can be grateful and still want more. I practice that balance by sitting down each evening, and I've been jotting down 2 to 3 things that I've been thankful for and a goal that I'm working towards. Some days that goal is actually rest. Some days it's grinding. Either way, I am moving forward in a way that feels good to me specifically. Third, I am resting without guilt. That means recognizing when I'm overstimulated, scrolling too much, my eyes are twitching, I'm feeling snappy, and I'm giving myself permission to pause and take a deep damn breath. I've been swapping doom scrolling for things that actually fill me up. Like I've been reading, I've been writing short stories because I used to love writing fictional stories. I'm watching terrible but comforting TV. Rest, cannot say this enough. Rest is not a reward for working hard. It is a requirement, and you need to rest in order to do anything in life. You need to rest to take care of your children. You need to rest to do a good job at work. You need to rest to have the energy for your hobbies. You need to rest to have the energy for your partners. It is okay to rest. It is a requirement for life. Say it once, say it twice, say it thrice. Please rest if you need to rest. Fourthly, is that how you say that? Anyways, I've started making decisions from my future self, not my fearful one, my future self. Because when I am in scarcity mode, every decision feels like it's about survival. But when I root into this abundance energy and this abundance mindset, what I actually end up doing is asking myself, what would the version of me who already believes she's worthy choose? Would she take the leap? Would she say yes to that opportunity? Would she invest in herself? Would she wear the bold outfit, even if nobody else gets it? What abundance does for us is it makes us go, what would you choose if you trusted that it would all work out? And the last and final thing is I'm setting boundaries that honor my energy. not to prove that I'm good, helpful, or low maintenance, because God forbid people think that I'm low maintenance. I'm not. Anyways, I don't respond to texts right away just because I used to. I say no to calls when I'm drained. I remind myself I am not here to be a constant available resource to others. I'm a person with limits, and protecting my energy makes room for the things that actually light me up. Because a reminder, what abundance says is that you are not a resource to be depleted. You need to rest. You need to do the things that feel right for you. And so some of these things that I'm doing, they might not apply to you. Or you're thinking, I don't want to overhaul my entire life right now, which you shouldn't. You don't have to. Sometimes what actually is the most powerful shift is just the quiet ones. So if you're in a place where energy, time, or resources are tight, there's a couple other low lift ways that you can start expanding. You could start trying to rearrange a small space in your home to reflect the life that you're building. That means light a candle, move a chair, put up a live, laugh, love quote in your apartment if you want to. Just anything that makes you feel like you are worthy and your space is worthy. Another low maintenance thing, change your phone background to something that reflects your dream life. I recently did this, and if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. And it's a picture I post on Instagram, but I just really like it because it's me and my dogs looking out a mountain. This is the center of my world, minus my little kitty cat. If I knew how to do Photoshop, I put him right there next to it. But why I love that photo so much is when I look down on it, I remember that I am not at the mountaintop yet. I am just looking at the mountaintop. But isn't it so cool that I'm finally at a point in my life where I can even identify what the mountaintop is? That's what I think, at least, when I look at my phone screen. So just think about that. And the last one that I'm going to give, last piece of advice when it comes to a small shift that you can make, and this is especially for my girlies that feel the need to compulsively give someone else a compliment when they have received one. I want you to try to just say thank you. And then that's it. I don't want to hear any more, no, oh, this old thing, or I just got lucky. I just want you to say thank you. Receive it, let it land, and also stop feeling the pressure to say a compliment back to someone else. I want you to sit in that vulnerable spot of being complimented. It's uncomfortable, but work on getting used to holding the spotlight rather than trying to immediately give it away to someone else. Oh, and I actually just thought of another one that has been a fun way, especially if you're someone who has to like ride the bus, if you have a lot of downtime at work, but writing a more list. What are some areas where you would like more of? And what I mean by this is basically writing down just one thing that you want more of. So like more peace, more connection, more time to write. I just want you to write it down. I want you to name it, and I want you to invite it in and just let it be seen. Even if it's just with you, at least you're saying what you want more of, and you're getting into the habit of practicing asking for something, even if it's just for yourself. These aren't supposed to be groundbreaking changes, but they are energetic changes. They help you embody the idea that you're allowed to want, to ask, to receive without guilt and without an apology. So, as a reminder, don't overhaul your life. Start where you are and build the habits and build the trust that's necessary for you to get to that next phase of your life, of living your dream life, of being the person that you want to be. But you have to start small, because this type of mindset shift, it takes growth and it takes time to switch from this idea that joy, happiness, love, all of that is a scarce resource to I am open to love, joy, and success. It's not just you claiming it all of a sudden. That's a step, but you have to give it time to get to this next point. And it is worth it. Part 4, what happens when you stop shrinking? When you stop shrinking, something quiet happens. It's not very loud, just like most of our healing and growth journeys, but something begins to happen, and it's a ripple effect. Your creativity expands, your relationships deepen, your self-trust, it actually strengthens, and the opportunities, they start showing up. Sometimes it's slowly, sometimes it's all at once, and sometimes you're finally able to see them because now you believe that you're actually worthy of receiving them. You begin to move through the world with a different frequency. You start noticing joy in noticing joy in places that you used to overlook. Your life starts to feel more vibrant, not because everything's perfect, because God forbid we fucking think life is perfect, because it's not, but because you're present in it now. You're present in your life today. You are showing up for yourself now. I used to say, I live in a cheap 1-bedroom apartment. It's not my dream, but it's home, but it's cheap and it's not forever. Do you see how depressing that sounds? Do you see how minimalizing that sounds? When I look around in my space now, I see the podcast studio that I built out of courage. I see the cozy home that I've created for my dogs. I see notebooks filled with ideas. I see coloring books scattered on the table, proof that I'm being creative. I see all of that everywhere all at once when I'm in my home. And for the first time, I don't just see my life, I see my potential. I used to believe I was someone good things just didn't happen to, that I must have been chosen wrong in whatever weird baby factory that we all come from. I used to be too loud, too fat, not pretty enough, not creative enough, just not enough. But now, from this new place, rooted in the belief that the universe is abundant, everything starts to look different. I set bolder goals. I say them out loud without shame. I speak about my podcast with joy instead of embarrassment. I celebrate what I've built and I let myself be seen. And I don't care if I'm too loud for you. I don't care if I don't look the way that I should for you. And I am tired of pretending to care that other people's thoughts and feelings about me should affect me. Because I've learned that only I can control me, my thoughts, and my energy. And I've surrounded myself with people who uplift me, who dream big with me. Because when you stop shrinking, you actually start attracting the people who get it, people who reflect the new standard that you've created for yourself. Because not only do they want that for you, but they want it for themselves. They want to be the group of people that are uplifted and joyful with each other. They want to celebrate each other's successes. They're not trying to tear each other down. And I need to be clear, none of this happened overnight. Not at all. It took stumbling. It took boundaries. It took deep self-trust exercises. It took trial and a lot of fucking error. But every step was worth it. When I look back at all of the mistakes that I've made to get to this point right here, I would not change a single thing at all. I wouldn't make things have happened sooner. I would not have done this thing sooner or that thing. I would leave everything exactly the way it was. And I think you can only do that and only say that and only feel that when you're on the other side of it. And this shift happens so gradually. Honestly, I didn't even realize it until I just woke up one day and noticed I wasn't living in fear anymore. I don't make decisions from a scarcity mindset. I don't believe joy is a reward that I have to earn. I don't believe that I am unlovable and that no one will love me. I know that the universe isn't on a budget, that there is more than enough for me. There's enough for you. There is enough for all of us. The universe is out here being Oprah saying, you get love, you get peace, you get happiness. She's just throwing it out to you. You just have to be there and be willing to catch it and be willing to fill the universe with your own dreams loudly, boldly, and most importantly, without apology. So if you needed this reminder, here it is. Dreaming big isn't delusional. It's divine. Ooh, I love that word, divine. It's transformative. When we dream big, we don't believe that we are too much. We don't believe our desires are excessive. We believe that we are ready for more, that we deserve more, and we do. We all do, especially those of us who are even willing to try, who are willing to live a life that they've always dreamed. So think on it. If you truly believe the universe wasn't on a budget, how would you live differently today? How would you live differently next week? And if you feel brave enough, let me know down in the comments because I want to hear it. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Please don't forget to like and share this episode as it is the #1 way to continue to support the podcast. And speaking of support, have you checked out my latest community? It's called Soft Hustle Society. It is a place dedicated to entrepreneurs and dreamers who need support on their mission. And so come and join. The link is down below to join the Discord group. It's completely free. No money is exchanged. And remember, finally, your dreams are not delusional and neither are you. Neither are you. Dream bigger and louder than you ever have before. You might need a budget, But the universe sure doesn't, so keep on dreaming. Kisses!